In the luxurious estate where the stained glass windows shimmered with the bright light of the flooding moon, an event curtain unfolded, epitomizing the most important turn in the life of our heroine. The majestic walls, upholstered in precious fabrics, seemed to be aglow with the brilliance of the evening lights, creating an atmosphere of festive mystery and magic. At that exciting moment, an owl burst into the room, its feathers lightly ruffled by a swirl of invisible air, as if it were a harbinger of something extraordinary. All the eyes of the gathered guests, dressed in their gowns, turned to this mysterious messenger. The green-eyed blonde, dressed in a gorgeous pink dress, attracted attention like a star in the night sky. The light of curiosity flickered in her eyes, and her face was a mixture of surprise and excitement. In her hands was a package, like a message of fate wrapped in shiny paper. Handing the package to the blonde, the owl nodded wisely as if to say, "Your uniqueness is the key to your own happiness." The green-eyed lady, having unpacked the package, found a mysterious note, which said that she was special, shining brighter than precious stones. She is given a unique chance to enter a jewel box, where each stone is an opportunity to choose her destiny. In this way, doors opened before her to a world where each choice became like a jewel that could change the direction of her destiny. And in that glorious moment of the wedding reception, between the sumptuous tables and shimmering scarves, an amazing story began, where love and freedom were woven into the fabric of destiny, and every moment was a new revelation. Wondering how she could control her destiny in a world where love plays a key role, the green-eyed blonde began to ponder the nature of the feeling. Amidst the whirlwind of emotions and the glitter of sparkling jewels, she suddenly realized that people who choose love are often stingy with it. The exciting thought of whether love was true happiness spurred her mind. However, as she plunged into the depths of her thoughts, a mysterious inscription appeared in the air, visible only to her. The words glittering before her eyes informed her that the jewel box would only contain individuals as beautiful as herself. This place was a promise of a meeting with equals, among whom she would easily find her beautiful husband. The next morning, the newspapers were happily splashed with headlines that our heroine, despite initial doubts, had decided to open box number 5. Perhaps it was a decision that fate already knew about in advance, and it only confirmed the girl's choice. And so began her fascinating and exciting story, where every step was a magic stone on the way to happiness. The russet beauty who read this news shuddered as an invisible wave of weightless sadness enveloped her. Her eyes swept the lines of the paper with embarrassment and a shadow of disappointment. Pensive, she began to furtively drift quietly into the world of her own thoughts. The paper folded slowly in her hands, as if it represented the fading of the light in her heart. The girl's fingers clenched on the paper, as if she were trying to hold on to the reality that this unexpected news brought. Her eyes, pierced with sadness, swept the vast room, and her gaze froze on the bed. There, in the bed, lay a man. With the man she had married yesterday on the basis of convenience, having no other choice. It was a moment of true realization when she realized that love, like luxury, could be an object of distribution, available only to a select few. A quiet sigh echoed in her inner world, as if she realized that now ahead was an uncharted path filled with questions and inner contradiction. The essence of love, its real meaning, became a hazy reflection in the mirror of her soul. And from that moment her own story began, full of secrets, passions, and hopes. Ahead is a journey to understand the true nature of love, regardless of initial conditions and calculations, because even in the most difficult situations, you can find a bright path in the heart. Lueria, as a guardian of her own castle from a broken family, faced a storm of resentment. The ancestral crumbs, in a desperate struggle for survival, were forced to part with anything that was easy to get away with. In this alchemical cauldron of loss, Lueria was an easily exchangeable asset, for she was only the daughter of the former consort of the head of the family. The surrounding relatives gazed at her with a tinge of hostility, as if every glance was a jab to her wounded heart. The sisters and brothers, devoid of even a shadow of compassion, had no concern for Lueria's safety. In their eyes, she was like an object ready to be sacrificed in an empire of family feuds. Since childhood, Lueria had felt the shadow of adversity hanging over her future, like an imminent hook of fate ready to drag her down. Even then, she guessed that her life would become a bottomless abyss, and her only purpose would be to be the commodity for which Liza's clan would fetch a good wedding dowry. The further the years went by, the more the dark guess grew in her soul that she would be exchanged like a cheap commodity in this world devoid of compassion. How could she not ask herself whether she had already reached the bottom, or whether deeper still there were uncharted abysses where suffering would take on new and more severe forms? Her will, as if under the earth, grew weaker with each new stroke of life. It seemed as if black corridors of hopelessness were being laid within her, and there was not even the slightest chance of change. Luaria was losing herself in this gloom, as if captivated in an underground labyrinth where not even echoes of light could penetrate. And so, sitting at the bottom of her own anxiety, Luaria felt it hard to give in to the current of oppressive reality. Did she have a shred of hope? The question remained unanswered, and the future melted like ice in the palm of her hand, slipping away from the weak courage of this girl forgotten by fate. In a world where traditions and agreements often become more important than personal feelings and preferences, Luaria found herself in the midst of a dilemma that plagued her heart and soul. From her earliest years, when the world seemed to her a place of wonder and limitless possibilities, she had dreamed of her wedding as the pinnacle of a romantic fairy tale. In her imagination, it was a day when love and understanding brought two souls together, foreshadowing a happy future. Luaria drew inspiration for such dreams from the pages of books she had read, where love is presented as the supreme value, and happiness in relationships is achieved through deep emotional connection and mutual respect between partners. However, the reality she encountered was far from the ideal brought out of her childhood reverie. Her wedding turned out to be not a celebration of love, but a deal made between families where feelings mattered little. The marriage she'd stepped into lacked the foundation she'd dreamed of, meeting the man who was to be her life partner. Luaria realized that the man next to her was a complete stranger, whose thoughts, desires, and dreams were completely unknown to her. This realization drove her into a corner, forcing her to rethink her own ideas about family life. The night that was supposed to symbolize the beginning of their life together turned into an arduous trial period for Luaria. She was eager to understand and know her husband, hoping that at least a small spark of understanding would ignite between them, lighting the way to mutual happiness. All she wanted was for their marriage to be more than a soulless formality. But her chosen one, absorbed in his own thoughts and plans, showed no interest in building bridges of understanding between them. His indifference and unwillingness to share his inner world became a cold shower for Luaria, forcing her to rethink her expectations of their life together. This situation plunged her into thinking about how important it is in a relationship to feel support and understanding from a partner. After all, these qualities are the foundation on which a strong and happy family is built. Luaria, standing on the threshold of a new life, realized that she had a difficult road ahead of her to find harmony in a marriage made without her consent and desire. With the first rays of morning light came also the first morning trial for Luaria in her new life. She found that her husband, far from understanding her feelings and emotions, was clearly annoyed by her silent sadness. Instead of words of support or trying to understand the reason for her sadness, he made a demand that seemed to her to be another step toward alienating them from each other, to start using makeup, as if the outer glitter could hide the inner emptiness she felt in her heart. In that moment, Luaria realized that she was sinking deeper and deeper into despair, becoming hostage to circumstances she had not chosen. Her soul was filled with heaviness at the realization that a marriage that should have brought joy and happiness was turning out to be a heavy burden. At the same time, the maids, who were unwitting witnesses of her suffering, exchanged gloomy speculations about her future. They wondered if Luaria would be able to withstand the oppression and pressure of their previous mistress, whose fate had ended in tragedy, leaving behind only a shadow of sadness within the walls of this house. The words of the maids, though spoken without malice, sounded to Luaria like a judgment. They pointed out that perhaps the only proof of the master's favor with Luaria was that he had not yet resorted to physical violence, as he had with their former mistress. This mercy was cold comfort to Luaria, emphasizing the cruel irony of her situation, where the absence of violence is taken as a sign of special treatment. Thus, each new day in the house where she was brought by fate became a test for Luaria, in which she had to find the strength to confront her situation and perhaps to find a way to free herself from the invisible shackles that bound her will and soul. Escape from the difficult moments in her childhood always turned out to be in the nooks of the old library, where Luaria, small and sensitive, found refuge from the storms of reality. Amidst the smell of old books and the magic of stories, she found solace and peace, immersing herself in other worlds where problems were weightless compared to the real challenges. However, upon entering the world of marriage, Luaria discovered that not every basement has magic that can take you into a fantasy world. Count Lisa's basement, while seemingly a place of wealth and secrets, has witnessed its own greed and oddities. Instead of the many books she had so hoped to find, Luaria was greeted by a vast collection of stuffed animals, filled with an aura of forgotten passions and dead nature. As she descended into her husband's dungeon, she sought some solace, hoping to find at least a few pages of escape from reality in the maze of stuffed animals. However, representing a collection of dried animal bodies, Count Lisa clearly preferred collecting dead nature to realizing his literary passions. The gloomy effigies, as if frozen by eternity, epitomized her husband's cold soul, and mostly his lack of interest in the wealth of words and worlds that might unfold before him. In the midst of all this strangeness and absurdity, Luaria discovered something that made her heart sink with revulsion. The stuffed mermaid seemed to stand out from this collection as if it were the ugliest page in this gloomy assemblage. She realized it was a symbol of her own fading light, buried under the weight of marriage and despair. It was the moment when Luaria realized she had hit rock bottom, facing the ugly reality of her fate that not even the darkest pages of books could hide for her. Under a blanket of midnight darkness, Luaria stood on the railing of her own balcony against the glittering vault of heaven. The world of night enveloped her like a black gown, and she pondered how happiness seemed available only to a select few, while her fate was destined for a boundless fall. The chosen ones rise to the top with the keys to the treasures of life, while Luaria only seemed to sink into the bottomless abyss. Luaria's heart, filled with despair, shed tears in the night until suddenly her attention was drawn to the slender figure of an owl carrying a bundle. An owl, as if sent by fate, brought her a mysterious message. Luaria unwrapped the package, confused, and found an invitation to the Jewel Box, a mysterious abode where the chosen few gathered to receive incredible opportunities. This moment for Luaria was like a magical breath into her fading life. She could not believe that it was she who had been chosen, that she was the chosen one of the mysterious proposal. It was as if the stars had aligned in her favor on this dark night, filling her soul with the light of hope. Mixing tears of helplessness with surprise, Luaria took this unexpected offer as a chance at rebirth, a chance to escape the abyss that threatened to swallow her. Thus, the Jewel Box was not only an invitation to a mysterious place for Luaria, but also the key to a new chapter in her life. Now the doors to an uncharted world of possibilities and changes opened before her, and she felt again that her destiny was not yet finally sealed, and the pages of a new chapter were just beginning to unfold before her eyes. Luaria, standing on the edge between doubt and determination, took the scroll in her hands, questioning whether the next step of her destiny would become a reality or merely an ominous illusion. Black-colored magic, like an ominous vortex, was suddenly released from the scroll, enveloping Luaria in its mysteries. Seconds passed, and Luaria felt something extraordinary. The power of dark magic penetrated her very core, changing her appearance and her soul. Luaria's hair, previously lifeless and faded, became a sea of black, glistening like thousands of gems. Her appearance was transformed into something so beautiful that it was as if it was the magic of beauty incarnate. A black dress, shining with an unknown light, framed her figure, and on her feet gleamed high-heeled shoes, as if made for a stepping stone into a magical world. Luaria became not just a member of the Jewel Box, but the most precious of them all. It became obsidian, a symbol of secret power and exquisite beauty, mysterious and alluring. At that moment, she realized that the mysterious invitation was not a joke or a dream, but the key to a change that even her own imagination could not foresee. The dark obsidian, Luaria, becoming her new guise, reflected not only her changed appearance, but her new inner brilliance that sparkled in her eyes, filling her heart with hope for a new, brighter path. Her life now took on a new hue, and Luaria was ready to face the challenges and wonders that awaited her in the magical world of the Jewel Box. Count Liza, returning home suddenly, rushed through the halls and rooms among which he expected to find his wife. However, his eyes met only the lone shoe left in the sign of Luaria's mysterious disappearance. Anger flashed in his eyes as he realized that she had vanished like smoke, with only her shoes testifying to her presence. Surrounded by the bustle and threatening the servants with consequences for unreliability, Count Liza shouted out his questions and orders. There was a note of despair in the corner of his anger and anxiety, for he felt that he could not hold in his hands the threads that controlled the fate of his family. Meanwhile, Lueria, having chosen the path of teleportation, was already in a safe place where glowing portals enveloped her like the caressing embrace of an unknown world. She was left with a house filled with darkness and obstacles, and an earl confused in the tossing of his soul. The teleportation circle opened a new path for Lueria, and she traveled to the uncharted world of the jewel box, hoping that this step would lead her to a brighter destiny and new opportunities where she would no longer be a prisoner of the dark secrets of her past. Lueria, suddenly transported to the mysterious world of the jewel box, finds herself in the hands of the banquet's organizer, the enigmatic Moonall. He greeted her with words as if welcoming a queen, and explained that she was now in the waiting room of the participants of the great ball. Lueria, still stunned and unable to believe her happiness, lay in his arms like a mother-of-pearl cameo in the shadow of sparkling stars. Moonall looked at her respectfully, realizing that the jewel before him was far from a mere jewel, but Lueria could not accept her role in this magnificent place. Her eyes reflected misunderstanding because she did not feel exceptional. The organizer of the banquet, sensing her doubts, resolutely explained that in the jewel box, each jewel had its own uniqueness. They are all different, but each valuable in their own way. Lueria was chosen for a reason, and in that moment she became part of something much greater than she could have imagined. Thus began her adventure in a new world where light and darkness, treasures and secrets were woven into a single cloth. Lueria, experiencing the first moments of her stay, gradually realized that this box could become not only a new beginning, but also a place where her uniqueness would acquire its own brilliant chapter. In the mysterious world of the jewel box, each participant had their own unique story behind the appearance of the gemstone. No one knew each other's real names or past lives, and their identities were presented under mystical names corresponding to the gems. Lueria, now personified as dark obsidian, felt like part of a living mosaic canvas, where each stone was a separate mystery. She didn't know who was standing next to her, but that was the mystery and splendor of this ball. With the light shining through the transparent walls of the box, Lueria became part of the dance, where the jewels intertwined to create their own unique symphony. All of them, like particles of magic, sparkled in multicolored hues, and each participant, hidden behind her stone, could be her potential partner in this amazing masquerade. Thus, each participant had the opportunity to choose their true love without knowing anything about each other's appearance or status. In this atmosphere of magic and mystery, where appearance became secondary to the soul, Lueria, now obsidian, prepared to meet the unknown, where their hearts were the keys to true harmony and love. At the sunset of the magical ball, when the last notes of magic sounded in the air, those jewels that have found their other half decide to reveal their identities. The magical crystal that captivated the gazes of everyone present witnesses an amazing moment when everyone takes their true form. Together with other couples, they create a kaleidoscope of their own unique stories, united by the magic of mutual love. The crowning glory of this magical evening is a wedding in the capital of the empire. Here, in a magnificent palace with walls glittering with gold and glass, the ceremony that many have been eagerly awaiting is taking place. The magic crystal captures each moment as if reflecting it into eternity. At this point, even the crown prince, who has abandoned his role as future emperor, is surprised to realize that his consort, the woman he fell in love with in the box, is becoming his equal. All the traditions of arranged marriages give way to a new era, the era of true love. And so, before the eyes of the entire kingdom, a miraculous transformation unfolds, where weddings are no longer a mere formality, but a celebration of love and the union of two souls. All the residents, be they simple peasants or higher-ups, watch this magical transformation, and their hearts are filled with the belief that true love can transcend all boundaries and lead to true happiness. So begins a new chapter in the history of this magical empire, where every step towards love is a step towards a bright future. The intrigue and excitement around the jewel box spread faster than the magical energy filling the air of a grand ball. Aristocrats, shrouded in the glitter of their jeweled images, have discovered a new source of excitement and passion in this mysterious process of choosing their soulmate. The empire looked to the box as an inexhaustible source of love and alliances. The benefits offered to those who found their true love through this magic were great. Not only powerful marriages, but also financial and social privileges became the reward for those who dared to open their hearts in this mystical box. Those who, despite all their efforts, did not find their soulmate should not despair. They, as participants in this great dance, were still gaining popularity among the people. After all, each of them became a symbol of faith and true love, a person who bravely opened his heart to the magic of possibilities. Thus, the box became not only a source of light and love for those who found their match, but also a source of inspiration and hope for those who were still searching for their way to the heart of another. All aristocrats aspired to this magical evening, where everyone could walk his unique path to true love and transform his life into a fairy tale. In a world where participation in the jewel box was limited to 8 jewels, competition became a real challenge. Aristocrats dreamed of entering this closed circle, where the opportunity to find true love was a luxury not available to everyone. Luaria, feeling like a stranger in this world of glitter and mystery, couldn't believe that she had been chosen to participate in the box. She thought it was a mistake, a coincidence that had taken her out of her comfort zone. Her heart beat harder with uncertainty, but the mystery of the box absorbed her attention. However, Moon, the organizer of the banquet, suddenly addressed Luaria by her husband's last name. This unexpected turn of events made her flinch. Moon's words, spoken to her as if they were something she knew, made Luaria experience a strange mix of surprise and fear. "Do you know why you're here, Luaria Lise?" Moon asked, and his voice sounded like a mysterious whisper in the magical corridors. Luaria, embarrassed and frightened, replied that she did not know the reason for her invitation. The mystery of the box seemed to hold her cards tightly to her chest, and Luaria found herself in a noticeable whirlpool of mystery and momentous events. Moon, like a wizard, extended his graceful hand towards Luaria, feeling her body trembling slightly. Luaria, frightened and excited, squeezed her crystal eyes shut, expecting some kind of magic. But instead of waiting for her, Moon only touched the wall, summoning a magic circle that instantly came to life. Inside the magic circle, a screen appeared on which flashed the figure of the very gorgeous lady Marianne Fiore Sierras, a famous member of the Jewel Box. She was a vivid memory in the newspapers, her stone considered the most popular, a pink diamond sparkling in magic. Marianne enjoyed the love of the people and found happiness in her marriage until 2 years ago, when her world came crashing down with the death of her husband in an accident. The tragedy left her lonely and devastated. However, despite all the losses, Marianne decided to take part again, this time in the 5th box, in search of a new love. However, like a dark night, last night Marianne mysteriously disappeared, and now she has been replaced by Luaria on this incredible show. She was to hide her true identity by pretending to be Dark Obsidian until neither the contestants nor the audience learned of Marianne's mysterious disappearance. Luaria now found herself drawn into this whirlwind of events, becoming an unwitting actress in a drama she did not choose to join. Luaria felt emotions raging inside her, impossible to control. She could not accept her new role as Marianne. Questions for Moon were tumbling from her lips like a storm. Why me? Why was I chosen for this false role? But Moon, like a stone, remained steadfast. He sternly declared that the fact of Marianne's disappearance must be kept secret, and Luaria would have to act as her substitute. Luaria's questions about why she was chosen, Moon dismissed, saying it didn't matter. The suddenly replaced girl had to go through magic that hid her appearance from prying eyes. However, in response to Luaria's doubts, Moon only remarked mockingly, "You weren't chosen because of your beauty or skills, Luaria. You were chosen because of your desperation, your hateful attitude towards your own life. You cannot refuse and will be forced to keep our secret." And so Luaria found herself caught up in this whirlwind of events, becoming not only Marianne's replacement, but also an actress in a life drama she was desperate to avoid. She had to play a role she wasn't prepared for, in a world where every glance could prove treacherous. Luaria sat silently with her hands over her face as if trying to escape the pain and reality of her new role. Moon, like a shadow, approached and whispered in her ear, penetrating her private world. "Luaria, I can help you end this marriage with Count Liza. You can choose your own destiny by deciding who you want to be with. The box can provide you with everything you need, and you can marry anyone you choose. Or you can choose to live alone. It's your decision. Those words passed through the sadness and allowed Lueria to feel that she had more control in her hands now. She looked up, meeting Moon's gaze with a look that seemed cloaked in sympathy. Now, in this magical saga, Lueria realized that even in the shadows of secrets and substitutions, not all was lost. She had been given the key to her freedom, which opened the doors of new possibilities before her. After only a moment's hesitation, Lueria accepted Moon's offer with surprising ease. Her gaze was immediately caught as Moon settled in front of her, taking a comfortable position on her knee. There was that momentary silence which precedes great turns of fortune. Moon, sitting on his knee, began to tell of what awaited Lueria in this world of wonder and mystery. His words were full of majesty and responsibility, as if every moment was the key to something great. And according to those words, Lueria realized that she was part of something incredible, something that only the chosen ones were part of. The rays of the bright sun illuminated this marvelous island, as if calling for adventure and mystery. There was a sense of mystery in the air, for this land was only accessible to a select few who possessed a jewel box. The very idea of such a place filled Lueria's heart with a sense of excitement and anticipation. Chambers hovered on the wide terrace, bathed in the sunlight where Lueria crouched, touching only the edge of the world. The creatures floating freely in the air added a special aura of magic and mystery to the whole picture. Lueria could feel how every maneuver they made reminded her that there was an incredible, great adventure to be encountered. Suddenly, a man whose appearance immediately caught Lueria's attention climbed onto this magical terrace. His appearance was like introducing a mystery into an already so mysterious place. Another man followed along with him, and another, until it was clear that there were 3 gems gathered on this terrace. Each of them radiated a special magic, like stars shining in the heavens. It was the first day that the box had brought them together, and now the jewels were forced to study each other as if caught in the first act of an exciting theatrical performance. The interest in each of them became a mysterious path to discovering the individuality that each tried to hide behind a mask of mystery. In this world, it was strictly forbidden to reveal one's true identity, which was why the jewels were forced to immerse themselves in the art of secrecy. At first glance, it seemed that even lying was allowed here, as long as it served the purpose of concealing one's true identity. Lueria, now Marianne, realized that she was going to have to engage in this dance of lies so that no one would suspect she wasn't who she said she was. The whole cunning plan, steeped in intrigue and masquerade, added excitement and mystery to her adventure on this marvelous island. Suddenly, Platinum touched Lueria's hand in admiration, radiating confidence and mystery. He noted that it held many secrets, which made it even more attractive in his eyes. That kiss of the hand, like a magic touch, brought even more intrigue into the atmosphere. With a smile full of mystery, Platinum introduced himself and named his gem. But just as Lueria was preparing to reveal her true nature as a dark obsidian, Platinum suddenly stopped her. With obvious interest in his eyes, he stated that he wanted to try and guess her true identity, as if he had his own internal compass for recognizing mysteries. At this moment, Platinum's words, rich with intrigue and fascinating mystery, created an aura of mystery and excitement around them. Lueria, now the personification of dark obsidian, waited with interest to see what surprise this mysterious companion had in store for her on her way to discovering their own secrets. Platinum, looking into Lueria's eyes, suggested several options, delving into a world of riddles and mysteries. He then slowly leaned over and whispered his assumptions, believing that Black Diamond was standing in front of him. There was a confidence and a sense of recognition in his words, as if he had plumbed the very depths of her essence. Lueria, assuming the role of dark obsidian, silently absorbed his words, gazing thoughtfully into the distance. These assumptions left a vibration of unspoken mysteries in the air, and Lueria began to ponder as she plunged into the complex waters of her new identity. Remembering Moon's words about the need to keep Marianne's disappearance a secret, she knew she had to be extremely careful not to expose her true nature. The pink diamond of the past box, who had charmed all men without receiving a single rejection, had become a kind of benchmark for Lueria. She felt excitement filling her whole to the brim, but despite that, she realized that it was necessary to remain unperturbed and enigmatic in her actions. For now, she had the task of playing her part without giving away her inner trepidation, so as not to disturb the fragile harmony of this mysterious story. Standing up from her seat with confidence, Lueria stated that Platinum's guesses were far from the truth. She added firmly, however, that she was willing to give the other men a chance to try to guess her gem. Platinum and Lueria's gazes intertwined, and at this moment there was a certain drama and anticipation in the air. Meanwhile, amidst this drama, a guy with glasses appeared, becoming the center of attention for Lueria and Platina. His appearance caused both of them to turn to look at him, and the man approached and bowed with apparent confidence, presenting his gemstone, Alexandrite. This unpredictable turn of events added even more mystery to the atmosphere. Lueria, maintaining the masquerade of her new identity, scrutinized each of the men, trying to pick up on the subtleties of their perceptions. At this point, many mysteries were intertwined, and Lueria was willing to do anything to keep her part in this exciting story. At this exciting moment, Platinum, shining with the brightness of his gem, noticed that the newly arrived young man, whose stone was changing its color like magic, had an alexandrite. This, he thought, implied the dangerous and mysterious nature of the wearer. The flaming reflections of the stone seemed to mirror the inner flames of the man. Despite Platina's warnings, however, Alexandrite decided to bypass his attention and turn to Lueria, who had the stone gleaming like a lit fire in her heart. He intriguingly asked about her gemstone, causing vague premonitions to be in the air. Lueria, with a smile, offered to let Alexandrite guess what her gemstone was. At that moment, a tension hung in the room, as if magic sparks were hovering. Alexandrite looked at Lueria as if reading her soul, delving into the secrets hidden in the depths of the stone. Suddenly, after an agonizing pause, Alexandrite said that the black diamond in front of him was a black diamond. The word sounded in the air like a magic spell, revealing secrets and opening doors to unknown worlds. But Platina couldn't help himself and exclaimed that Alexandrite was mistaken, that the girl in front of him was not a black diamond. The sight of this incorrect guess only added fire to the game, and the move was passed to the last man standing at that moment, waiting his turn, as if the spectacle was just beginning to unfold. The scene, saturated with emotion, suddenly acquired a new cast of characters. A new red-haired young man burst onto the terrace like a whirlwind of passion, dispelling the shadows of past dramas. Only after climbing up to that high platform where a wave of gemstone auras mingled in the air did his gaze detect something strange. Here, on this stage, there are 3 men for 1 girl. This is the moment when fates intertwine and hearts beat in unison, creating a whirlwind of feelings. Alexandrite, with a dose of humor, noted that probably the rest of the men had not yet shown up for this bright ball, where each of them strives to win the heart of a girl with her unique sparkling stone. Platinum, on the other hand, did not miss a chance to play verbal space with the newcomer and claimed that the young man was simply afraid to face the competition, sensing the sparkling power of the other stones. The irrepressible red-haired young man exploded when he heard Platina call him young man. His voice rang out like a thunderstorm on the terrace, embodying fury and rejection. Once he calmed down, however, he introduced himself. He was Garnet, like a fiery explosion of emotion in human form, ready to explore the depths of feeling at this diamond ball. At that moment, like a whirlwind of passions, Platina instantly approached Garnet, as if the stars of the constellation had arranged all the pieces for a new act of this precious drama. His manner of movement was light and graceful, like a dance in the glow of the moon. Platina, with a twinkle in his eye, invited Garnet to join in the guessing game. The whole place seemed to stand still, waiting for the outcome of this precious battle of wits. The Garnet looked at Lueria with the utmost seriousness, as if reading in her soul the reflection of his stone. Like 2 wanderers in a world of precious hues, Garnet expressed his hypothesis. He assumed that the girl in front of him was a black diamond. This assumption sounded in the air like a musical note, creating another turn in this symphony of emotions. Platinum's smile, however, sounded like a melody of laughter. In response to Garnet's impertinent guess, he only laughed, as if the stars were laughing at man's impertinent attempts to understand their mysterious luminaries. The game continued, and each move brought new excitement, like a great performance where gems became the keys to the hearts of history. Alexandritus, standing apart from the main group like a beacon in the night, caught everyone's attention with his remark about the newcomers to the evening approaching. Like a fairy tale, 2 figures, resembling the embodiment of feminine beauty and grace, slowly approached the terrace, shrouded in an aura of mystery and intrigue. They, like 2 shimmering stars in the sky, began to attract the gazes of everyone present. The first of the girls stepped forward with determination and confidence, as if she knew she had a role to play in this precious story. Her movements were full of dignity and elegance, as if she herself were the embodiment of some rare and precious stone. The second, trying to keep up with her friend, suddenly became the heroine of a small drama. In an attempt to catch up with the first, she slipped, and like a leaf carried by the wind, fell awkwardly, hitting her forehead on the floor. This unexpected twist added a touch of humanity and unpredictability to the story, reminding us that even in a tale of gems, there is room for simple human emotions and chance. The first of them, meeting her slipping friend on the way, readily lent her a helping hand. The warm light of the sun falling on their skin created the atmosphere of an incredible magical fairy tale. The companions, like stars, joined glittering palms together, their gazes intertwined in a peaceful dance of light and shadow. A confused smile ran across the second girl's face as she responded to the first girl's kind gesture. And so, holding each other's hands, they made their way to the place where the jewel boxes sparkled. On the terrace, like tiny gems sitting waiting for their keepers, glittered the participants of the event. Raising their eyes to the heavens, the jewels welcomed the newcomers as if they were long-awaited guests in a luxurious palace of magical treasures. The shining light of the jewels enveloped the stage in an atmosphere of mysterious splendor. As everyone gathered around the jewels, a hologram in the form of a wise owl appeared out of nowhere. Her feathers glittered with multicolored reflections, like magical whirlwinds captivating the audience. It was Moon Owl, who, like an ancient keeper of secrets, welcomed the participants as if inviting them into a world full of mysteries and adventures. The jewels, like guardians of a magical kingdom, took their intended places, arranging themselves around as if the guardians of secrets had come to life. The place created especially for them turned out to be like a bright corner of a magical forest. Here, under the vaults of the trees, the jewels sparkled with multicolored lights, as if they were pieces of magic encased in them. Leading the ceremony, Moon, like a magic guide, opened the curtain of this marvelous place. An aura of invisible protection hovered around them like a veil of magic haze. Moon clarified that this was not just a safe haven for the jewels, but a veritable corner of magic where communication with the outside world becomes impossible. With this, like magic seals, safeguards are put in place to prevent information leakage, as if the jewels were protecting their intimacy. Moon emphasized the importance of this place where each jewel could feel safe, surrounded by magic and care. The mysterious atmosphere of the place enveloped the gathering like a dense magical veil protecting them from worldly cares. Under the rays of the evening light, Moon, like a magical guardian, invited the participants to choose their companions on this magnificent magical journey. As if in a dance of light, the participants, shimmering with multicolored hues, chose their partners like stars joining their luminaries in a celestial symphony. Moon, looking around the entourage of the chosen ones, emphasized that each couple, like a star duo, would have the unique opportunity to go on an exciting date outside the magical island. Here, the magic of data protection loses its power, opening up a sea of questions and possibilities for the lovers. As if crossing the threshold of a magical forest, couples will be able to communicate freely, asking each other questions, as if solving the mysteries of the heavens, but all information will remain only between the couple. Moon assured that these moments would be unrepeatable, like a magical adventure in the center of a magical cosmos. All around, as if in a magical fog, will succumb to the power of lovers alone, like an ocean of magic that knows no boundaries. Like a manifestation of magic, mysterious magic circles appeared on the floor around the participants, as if opening a door to unexplored worlds. Each circle beckoned with its own secrets, preparing to take the three daredevils on an unknown adventure. In the whirlwind of magic, there are allotted places for three, like islands in a vast ocean of possibilities. The first to step resolutely onto one of the circles was one of the girls, like a star lighting its way. A second girl followed her as if she were a hare, despite her charm, startling everyone with her clumsiness. Her fall was unpredictable, and the intervention of the comic element in this magical moment. The pomegranate, like a caring guide on this magical journey, approached to help the unlucky girl to stand up. His hand, like the embodiment of support, reached out to the girl like a star that had lost its glow, but was ready to rekindle with renewed vigor. At this time, Alexandrides, like a great hero, invited Luaria to join him in the magic circle. Luaria, like a beautiful nymph, nodded in response to his suggestion. When she took a step forward, Platina, like a mysterious fairy, suddenly grabbed her hand. She asked Luaria to join her on this magical journey, as if providing an opportunity to once again puzzle out the mystery of her stone. Thus, the magic circles slowly glowed, as if opening a portal to other dimensions for each of the three couples, where new mysteries and adventures awaited them. Garnet, Alexandrite, and Platinum, like heroes of magical fairy tales, went to uncharted worlds where every step was filled with magic and an opportunity to reveal secrets. In the thrilling moment when the jewelry box was opened before the admiring audience, the spectators could not believe their eyes when the jewels presented crumbled so lavishly to the light of attention. This moment was a true highlight of an evening filled with glitz and magic. All eyes were on Platinum as he, generously sharing his impressions during the interview, expressed his preference for a style that reflected his exquisite taste. "Girls like the pink diamond from the fourth box I just love," he declared with a smile as he revealed the secret of his chosen stone. Alexandrite, another bright gemstone, was not left out. He too expressed his preference, giving his heart to Marianne's pink diamond. This moment created an incredible atmosphere of romance and mystery. However, the real turn of events came when it was revealed that Marianne would be taking part in the fifth box. Both gems, like stars falling in the same sky, expressed their willingness to meet the enigmatic Marianne. Their hearts sank with anticipation. Their gazes merged in a single quest to recognize this unique woman among all the gems. Thus began the exciting chapter of this story, where the gems, like characters in a romantic story, are eager to meet Marianne, creating an exciting anticipation and inspiring the audience's own fantasies of what will happen next in this magical world of jewels. The audience, immersed in a world of intrigue and passion, burned with the desire to unravel the secrets that Alexandrite and Platina hid in their intelligent eyes. Excited rumors and questions from the audience filled the air with a foreboding sense that a great revelation was ahead. One of the girls taking the floor provided her reflections to the audience. "Apparently, Obsidian resembles Marianne the most," she declared with a smile, as if possessing the key to a great mystery. Her words were like a magnet, drawing the audience's attention, creating a mysterious aura around her. At the same moment, a silent man standing off to the side stared intently at the camera footage, as if trying to decipher the code of a mysterious story. His attention was completely absorbed in solving the mystery of which of the contestants was, in fact, the enigmatic Marianne. The atmosphere around the show became more and more saturated with mystery and foreboding. The audience, as if drowned in a sea of riddles, waited for the veil of mystery to be revealed, anticipating the moment when everything would become clear and they would be able to fully immerse themselves in this exciting romantic world created by gemstones and their desire to reveal their feelings. Obsidian, Alexandrite, and Platinum stood in the center of the opulent palace like three aristocrats surrounded by exquisite luxury and splendor. The great palace stretched out before them, opening its doors to this trio full of exquisite tastes and secret passions. Platinum, like a virtuoso leading his audience through the sights of his splendor, invited the others to tour this house of wonders. And so, as the three noble souls embarked on a journey through the floors of the manor, they could not help but be amazed at its splendor and richness. The luxury of the palace was revealed to them in every detail, from the exquisite patterns on the ceilings to the majestic carpets beneath their feet. They wandered through the corridors as if they had magically entered a castle from a fairy tale, where every corner radiated brilliance and splendor. The trio could not hold back their exclamations, discussing the beauty and grandeur of each room. Alexandrite, like a connoisseur of art, found something special in each painting and statue, while Obsidian, with his mysteriousness, enjoyed the atmosphere of the palace, as if immersed in his own thoughts. Their wanderings through the floors turned this journey into a true exploration of a luxurious world where every step was a step towards an encounter with splendor and mystery. The house seemed to become a character in their story, creating a setting full of mystery and excitement that made the audience enjoy immersing themselves in this luxurious labyrinth of feelings and perceptions. Obsidian offered to explore every corner of this mysterious island as if inviting her companions on a journey of mystery and adventure. The trio headed into the forest, where whispering trees and mysterious sounds created an atmosphere of mystery and magic. A walk around the island brought them a discovery. It turned out that this part of the world wasn't that big. Alexandrite, displaying his observational skills, expressed his thoughts on how difficult it would be to last a few months here. But Platina, with inner conviction, objected that it was in this island, in its confinement, that the opportunity for them to come closer together lay. Suddenly, Obsidian, as if opening her soul, decided to reveal her gem to the boys. This moment caused bewilderment and surprise in their eyes. Platinum, who had suddenly become an expert in gems, expressed his point of view, noting that obsidian looked more like glass than a real gemstone. Such unexpected moments created a unique atmosphere on this mysterious island, where each step, as if opening a new page in a book of adventure, brought its own surprise and excitement. This moment was another step in the trio's journey, filling the island not only with the mysteries of nature, but also with the secrets of hearts and feelings. Alexandrite, as if a wise guide in the world of jewelry, shared his view on the name of the stone, claiming that it is determined by magic and depends on the qualities of the participants. This moment was a kind of key that opened the door to the mysteries that lurked in the gems. At the same moment, Lueria, as if awakened from a long sleep, realized that she had received obsidian not because of the glitter of aristocracy, but because of her true nature. Confusion flashed in her eyes, and she realized that she was confronted with the prejudices and patterns associated with her background. Alexandrite, incredibly witty and educated, told us that obsidian, as if it were the sharpest of fossils, was associated in his homeland with a heart broken by unhappy love. This metaphor filled the air with an invisible aura of mystery, creating an atmosphere of inner turmoil and hidden emotions around the trio. Lueria, with a smile on her lips, decided to make a joke at her own expense, confirming her supposed role as Marianne. "We came to this island to find love," she declared, as if completing a mysterious chapter of her story. This moment was a new twist in the trio's journey, leading them deep into the feelings and exciting discoveries that the entire world of jewelry dreams of. Platinum, shining with his precious charm, extended his hand towards Obsidian as if inviting him into his unique world. His voice sounded like a melody made of the most precious metal as he communicated that his stone was more than just a material. It is pure platinum, the most precious metal, like his feelings for obsidian. The mesmerizing moments of this love story unfolded before the eyes of the audience, immersing them in a world of brilliance and passion. Platinum expressed his love with such sophistication that each word seemed like a jewel shining against the backdrop of a mysterious love story. Obsidian, in turn, accepted the challenge, preparing to dive into this world of pure platinum. Viewers witnessing the beginning of a passionate love line have already begun to discuss the possible development of events. After all, you can always expect the unexpected in the world of the show, and as true art lovers, they savored every moment wondering how the story would unfold. Meanwhile, viewers have been making their speculations on who could be Marianne in this gripping drama. Platinum, who had initiated everything from the beginning, regarded Obsidian as his Marianne. This added spice and mystery to the whole situation, and the audience found themselves in sweet anticipation of what the next plot twist would bring. Thus, the audience became an active participant in this exciting story, taking on the role of a witness, ready to immerse themselves in a world of love and intrigue, where every moment was like a brilliant fragment of the most precious stone. The three gorgeous jewels were parading around the beautiful island, savoring every moment of nature's exceptional beauty. Suddenly, Alexandrite, who appeared to be a keen observer, noticed Obsidian, who, despite her elegance, was slowing her steps a bit due to her heels, treading the hilly terrain. Worry slipped into Alexandrite's voice as he turned to Obsidian, expressing his concern that it might not be easy for her to advance in this unpredictable landscape. Obsidian, maintaining her steadfastness, brushed it off, claiming she was fine and no worries. However, Alexandrite's attentive gaze suddenly softened his expression, and he extended his caring hand to her. It was not just an offer of support, but a symbol of attention and care. Alexandrite, like a true gentleman, warned her against any difficulties that might arise from inappropriate footwear. At this point, Platinum, always ready for unexpected comments, contributed to the dialogue. With a mildly mocking tone, he noted that even if Obsidian extended her hand, her feet were unlikely to feel any better. It was a playful joke, embodying his humor and ability to add levity to any situation. And then, as if embodying consideration and gallantry, Platinum took Obsidian in his arms like a true knight, ready to carry her through all the difficulties. This moment was the true manifestation of their relationship, the moment when the jewels reaffirmed their mutual care and perception of each other as something more valuable than the most precious stones. Alexandrite, sensitive and attentive, could not help but express his feelings about Platina's actions. He did not fail to notice that such an act was somewhat rude, for Platina did not even look in Obsidian's direction before taking her in his arms. Perhaps in his eyes it was an act of care shown, but to Alexandrite it came as quite a surprise and without prior consent. Platinum, for his part, sighed, realizing that he was going to have to spend a few months with a boor like Alexandrite. His gaze drifted toward Obsidian, and his smile playfully hid some displeasure. Perhaps he had expected his audacity to elicit delight, but now he had to face dissent. Lueria, drowning in the whirlwind of her thoughts, fixed her gaze on Platina's face, as if trying to unravel the mysteries of his thoughts. She wondered what Marianne, the mysterious figure who seemed to be absent from the show, would do in this situation. But Lueria was careful not to give away her doubts or assumptions out loud. It was as if Marianne was in her thoughts, but her presence was not in the picture. Obsidian, in response to the rather difficult situation, decided to relieve some of the tension with a confident smile. She supported the idea of diversity in men, as if hinting that they each had their own unique way of caring and attention. Her subtle smile added to the mystery of the moment, as if to lift the veil of intrigue in their relationship. Thus, Lueria's inner monologues, Marianne's eagerness to solve the mystery, and Obsidian's meaningful answer created an atmosphere of unsolved mysteries and emotional fluctuations around this trio of jewels, which only increased the audience's interest in what would happen next. Platinum burst out laughing as if opening a new chapter in their exciting drama, and decided to make his assumptions about the protagonist of the fifth box. His words sounded confident, as if he had already read the next chapter of the script long ago. The audience, in surprise, took such a categorical statement from Platinum, remaining puzzled before this moment. Dumbfounded by the statement, they couldn't help but notice that Alexandrite had also shown interest in Obsidian. However, Platinum, being a master of tactics in the game of feelings, as if he took away from him the chance for close communication with the mysterious beauty. The game of emotions is in full swing, and the audience is caught up in the whirlpool of feelings, anticipating how their story will unfold. Obsidian, having been the center of attention since the beginning of the show, has already caught the attention of both men. The viewers couldn't help but notice how their relationship was developing, and were left to anticipate the moment when her heart would open up and choose her lover. Everything around me resembled an exciting novel where every moment is filled with suspense and intrigue. In a quiet and cozy room, 3 young ladies gathered to share their impressions of a walk on a mysterious island. Their faces glistened with anticipation, and their gazes searched for answers to the troubling questions in those gathered together. Gossip pierced the air as words filled the space like the scent of flowers in a spring garden. The plot became more and more fascinating, like the pages of an exciting novel. The girls made conversation about the atmosphere around Obsidian and her charming companions. They described the air soaked with sea salt and the soft light that played among the branches of the trees like playful golden rays. Each word brought colors and sounds as if magic was unfolding before their inner gaze. Thus, the moments of the walk became not just a chronicle of events, but a real work of art. The audience could imagine themselves in the role of one of the ladies, imbued with the mysterious atmosphere of the island, where every step led to uncharted adventures. Just before the show, Lueria had to face an intriguing question that had previously come up during an interview. She was the focus of attention, and the eyes of the public craved knowledge of who Marianne, her predecessor, had been the object of attention. But Lueria, alas, did not possess that knowledge. Amid the anticipation and silence, as in Facing the Elements, Lueria swayed like a bird perched on the edge of its nest. She couldn't say the name, remaining in disbelief. Here, Mun, a man of incredible talent and attention to detail, came to the rescue. He solved Lueria's silence and intervened in this theater of issues by offering her an unusual way out. Through Lueria's excitement, as if coming from nowhere, Moon's words rang out. He invited her to open up her inner world and express herself as she would like to respond. This sentence, like a luminous key, opened the door to Lueria's own world of emotions and experiences. In this way, a moment of sincerity arose in front of the audience when Lueria, feeling every vibration of her feelings, expressed herself. Like magic, this sincerity penetrated into the hearts of the audience, giving them the opportunity to feel how difficult it can be to be in her shoes, playing the role of another person. Crowded around the screens, the audience witnessed not only the interview, but also Lueria's inner drive to be herself in this theater of illusion. Lueria, entangled in a complex triangle of feelings, looked up, pondering which of the two men she should prefer, the enigmatic Platine or the stalwart Alexandrite. Under Moon's attentive gaze, she felt the weight of the choice on her. However, when the question of preference was asked by Moon himself, Lueria suddenly realized that she didn't really like any of the guys. This unexpected response surprised Moon, and he could not hide his surprise. After all, in his opinion, the anchorwoman should have made her choice by giving in to the atmosphere of the romantic show. However, Lueria was not going to play by the rules of artificial intrigue. Staring thoughtfully into the distance, Lueria admitted that maybe she just didn't know these men well enough to make a final choice. Excitement and uncertainty made her realize that she couldn't make a decision based on first meetings and fleeting glances. Thus, Lueria announced that she intended to take herself time to better understand their personalities and only then make her final choice. Moon nodded in surprise, agreeing with the decision. He hadn't expected the show to take such a turn, but it seemed that Lueria had resolutely refused to go by the prearranged script, preferring to immerse herself in the story. And so, viewers were left waiting, no doubt holding their breath to find out what secrets and mysteries lurked behind the faces of Platinum and Alexandrite, and how their story would unfold in the show's incredible world full of unexpected twists and turns. Time passed, and the audience began to notice that even despite Platin's best efforts, he still could not win the attention and interest of Lueria. But as they say, in every unfortunate turn of events hides a new chance. This is how Alexandrite came into play, ready to fight for the heart of the seductive Obsidian. While Lueria was engaged in her musings, all three participants gathered in the men's room. Garnet, unhappy with the development, complained unhappily about his girlfriend, with whom he had been paired while teleporting. He reprimanded her for constantly falling, getting lost, and being unable to even open the door. Passionately indignant, he couldn't understand how anyone could be so clumsy. Platinum, for his part, decided to support his comrade, noticing that this particular girl had caught Garnet's attention. Seeing the embarrassment in Garnet's eyes, Platinum didn't miss the opportunity to make a remark. It's simply impossible to ignore such clumsiness. Thus, in the men's room, amidst mixed feelings ranging from despair to intrigue, new facets of the participants' relationship were revealed, providing the audience with another unexpected crumb of drama in this fascinating romantic journey. In the meantime, Alexandrite, eager to learn more about what stones had fallen to the girls, turned his gaze to Garnet. After calming down, Garnet openly shared the information that the girl that kept falling down was Amethyst. The second girl, who looked more confident, got a pearl. Platina, wasting no time, decisively asked Garnet which of the two girls he liked better. Pomegranate, faced with a difficult choice, replied confusedly that he needed time to consider his feelings and decide in whom he saw his true half. Platinum, with a characteristic sneer in his voice, without losing his optimism, stated that it took him only a few seconds to identify his chosen one. These words, filled with confidence, only intensified Garnet's internal struggle, making him wonder how sincere his own feelings were in this mysterious world of the romance show. Thus, the emotions and intrigue continued to build, creating uncertainty and interest in viewers who were eagerly awaiting the development of this compelling story. In an interview where every word could be a clue to the inner feelings of the participants, Platinum was asked a question that intrigued many viewers. The host asked Platinum if he really thought Obsidian was the pink diamond from the fourth box. This question, as if waiting for an answer, hung in the air, creating anticipation. Platinum, maintaining an enigmatic look, replied that he could not state with absolute certainty, but if it happened that Obsidian did indeed turn out to be Marianne, he was ready to immediately take the next step and take her as his wife. These words, filled with determination and commitment, left the viewers in a state of incredible excitement. Thus, the intrigue and romance on the show grew, making the viewers anticipate the next episodes and find out how the relationship between the characters will turn out in this exciting romantic journey. The following interviews were a true climax, in which none of the participants chose to speak out about who had aroused their special feelings. The mystery of the art stones, which still remained in the shadows, filled the air with anticipation. The spectators, eager to learn about the true feelings of the participants, expressed their bewilderment as the faces of the jewels remained a secret. Some of them did not even have time to communicate with each other, which meant that many could not express their impressions and preferences. The expectation of the spectators grew more and more intense, their curiosity increasing by the minute. The jewels, never emerging from their clandestine guise, kept the intrigue going by giving the audience a chance to speculate what their real names and faces might be. The situation became even more heated when it became clear that for the first dinner, the contestants were obliged to cook for themselves. The viewers were eagerly waiting for the moment when the jewels would find themselves face to face at the common table, hoping that their opinions would still have time to change and their first impressions would give rise to exciting relationships in this wonderful romantic world. At this point, Moon, the host of this whole romantic drama, announced that the jewels were to make luruk soup, each of them having to choose a different ingredient and add it to the common pot. This challenge will not only test their culinary skills, but will also be another step towards winning the hearts of their rivals. Jules began evaluating all the ingredients, trying to pick one that would be easier for them to handle. Aware that the successful completion of this task might attract to them the attention and adoration of the inhabitants of this marvelous empire, they began their selection with an effort. Amethyst, who was standing back and worried about her uncertainty, resolutely took the carrot in her hand. However, Garnet, noticing her difficulty, quickly approached her with concern and worry. He realized that Amethyst might not know how to handle this challenge and worried for her safety, fearing that she might cut herself. Thus began an exciting culinary challenge, flavored with the feelings and inner struggles of the jewels who meddle in the culinary arts in search of a path to the hearts of their rivals and the inhabitants of this marvelous empire. Pomegranate, feeling concern for his rival, decisively took the carrot from Amethyst to cut it into pieces. Amethyst herself looked at Pomegranate's back in embarrassment, feeling his caring gesture touching her heart. At this moment, a mysterious atmosphere was created where feelings and care slowly permeated every corner of this romantic culinary ordeal. Pearl suddenly drew attention to past events, recounting how one of the previous participants had cut himself while peeling potatoes, causing some princess to faint at the sight of blood. Platinum, laughing, shared his experience, stating that as a royal he only learned about peeling potatoes when he encountered them. The hilarious moment added some humor to the atmosphere of this unusual culinary battle. At this very moment, attention was drawn to Obsidian, who was quite casually cutting up a fish. Everyone around her froze as they watched her deft movements. Obsidian, immersed in the process, realized that all eyes were on her. This unexpected moment turned her actions into an incredibly masterful performance, adding to her originality and grabbing the attention of everyone present. Thus, the culinary battle turned into a real show, where every moment is filled not only with taste and flavors, but also with feelings, emotions, and unexpected discoveries, immersing the jewels and the audience in an exciting whirlpool of events. Suddenly, Pearl turned to Obsidian, calling her Pink Diamond. Obsidian suddenly jumped up, staring at Pearl with an expression of surprise in her eyes. Pearl, with a slight smile, noted that Pink Diamond, she said, just couldn't stand the sight of blood and knives. Pearls revealed that in the fourth box, Marianne, known as Pink Diamond, tried her hand at cooking unsuccessfully and cut her fingers. At the time, she stated that she was absolutely not meant for culinary research. Even when offered the chance to learn to cook, Pink Diamond insisted that she'd rather double the cook's wages than face knives. This unexpected turn of events caught the attention of everyone present, and at that moment all eyes were on Obsidian. The one who was previously thought to be Marianne found herself at the center of attention, causing even more intrigue and questions. Obsidian, surprised by the sudden association, stood in front of her rivals, feeling all eyes and expectations on her. In the flickering light of the refined room, where every object and every ray of light seemed to contribute its own note to the overall harmony, Pearl couldn't help but notice Luaria's exceptional skill with the knife. It wasn't just cooking, it was a ballet, where every movement was full of grace and precision, like a conductor's gesture inspiring the orchestra to create a masterpiece. Meanwhile, Obsidian was facing a very different reality. With each passing moment, she became more and more aware of how her carefully constructed image of Marianne was beginning to crumble under the gaze of the rest of her precious brethren. This moment of discovery for her was like the slow but inevitable collapse of a sandcastle under the pressure of an advancing wave. Soon, no doubt, each of them would realize that she was not who she claimed to be. Lueria, on the other hand, was accustomed to a life where her role was more like that of a servant than an aristocrat, which was far from typical for someone in her circle. In a world where rank and blood determined your place from birth, she was forced to learn many skills on her own, including the art of cooking. This state of affairs was both a challenge and an opportunity for her to develop skills that many of her class could only dream of. Unlike Marianne, who never seemed to touch kitchen utensils, Lueria had turned her skill into an admirable art. While Lueria's mind was blank with a mixture of excitement and the uncertainty of his position, Moon, watching from the sidelines, came to the realization that his cunning plan, the little intrigue he had so carefully nurtured, was nearing its inevitable end. His eyes reflected the realization that the world they had all been building was about to change, and that this change might be irreversible. In that exhilarating moment, with every eye seemingly frozen in time, focused on Lueria, Alexandrite, sensing the tension in the air, resolutely approached the peeled potato king. His gaze settled on the motionless tuber, and then, as if opening the veil of mystery, he spoke, noting that someone who peels potatoes so skillfully undoubtedly has a special character. In his words sounded not only praise of Obsidian's skill, but also a subtle hint of her personality, as if each peeled potato was a kind of reflection of the girl's soul. "The care you take in handling the potatoes says a lot about you, Obsidian," Alexandrite remarked, adding mystery to his words. His eyes sparkled with interest and approval, as if he saw something deeper in this simple action. And at that moment, something in the air changed. The tension that had covered the kitchen like a thick fog gradually dissipated. The sparks of romance between Obsidian and Alexandrite flared, becoming a bright light that eclipsed all previous difficulties. It was evident that these two, previously immersed in an ocean of doubt and decentration, now found themselves in a world where culinary adventures create their own unique moments. Their gazes intertwined like a dance in which they were both spectators and performers, and all previous worries and mysteries seemed to dissolve in this moment. Alexandrite volunteered to help Obsidian, and together they set about preparing the ingredients for the soup, while Platinum stared at Obsidian in the background, realizing that there was something more behind her personality.